Good Friday evening. I'm Mike Nasel with the latest on the tropics. It's October 2nd, 2020, and that means hurricane season 2020 is still going on. Obviously, as you know, we exhausted our name list, so we are onto the Greek alphabet. We had Alpha already out near Portugal, Beta flooded Texas, and we are now awaiting Gamma and Delta. And it looks like we could see Gamma and Delta before too long here. Probably tonight we'll see Gamma in the Caribbean. We have a tropical depression there on the left side of your screen right there, headed towards the Yucatan Peninsula and the Gulf of Mexico. That is almost certain to become Tropical Storm Gamma in the next 12 to 24 hours. We have another interesting wave here in the Caribbean that the models were sniffing out as a potential hurricane down the road. They've kind of backed off on that a little bit. However, it could still become a feature in the next 5 days we'll have to deal with, and that could be Delta. Now, to say nothing of these waves in the Atlantic, we're going to continue to watch them as they move towards the west. Now, here's the latest on Tropical Depression 25 as of 4 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Eastern from the National Hurricane Center in Miami. The depression was at 18.8 north, 85.3 west, winds of 35. It's moving northwest at 9, and its location is about 155 miles southeast of Cozumel, Mexico. And that general motion should continue in that direction. So by Saturday afternoon, it should be a tropical storm making landfall there, and we do have a tropical storm warning from Punta Herrero to Cabo, Catoche, and that's because the tropical storm force winds will impact that area. Also, a tropical storm watch south of there to Costa Maya, and on the north coast of the Yucatan in areas there of the north coast of Mexico to Dzilam, Mexico. So again, this whole area from the north coast of the Yucatan all the way down towards the Chetumal area of Mexico needs to be on the alert for tropical storm conditions as our system moves to the northwest. It is forecast to strengthen, but not become a hurricane. Not yet. However, it looks like by Sunday and Monday, a ridge will build into the north and push it back west. And so we might have to deal with this thing looping around here in the Bay of Campeche. And if that sounds familiar, remember Cristobal. Remember Cristobal way back in June? Seems like a totally different hurricane season. And that flooded areas there, and that's the main concern here. You can see it is expected to produce heavy rainfall, life-threatening flash flooding over the Yucatan, western Cuba, well away from the center, and that's in areas of Campeche, Tabasco, and Chiapas. So again, if you are in this area here of the Bay of Campeche, like we saw with Cristobal, you could see flooding from what will likely be Gamma by the time tonight rolls around. Number 2, it is forecast to bring tropical storm conditions, and those winds will move across the Yucatan by Saturday. So again, we're going to watch this system. I think the main threat right now is obviously heavy rainfall. You could see the center in there a little naked, but it is building thunderstorms, and it does have that classical hurricane shape to it. So it is definitely a tropical cyclone, and it is definitely a threat. The computer models don't really give us any indication. Again, like with Beta a few weeks ago, kind of a northwest, then north, then west, then south, then maybe back east, and we really don't know. Right now, the Hurricane Center is kind of just jogging at northwest, then back west, chilling out in the Bay of Campeche. But again, it could be more over land, it could be further north and further west. Anybody in the Gulf of Mexico wants to keep an eye on it. You can see the HWRF model brings it to hurricane strength, but then weakens it and moves it generally towards northern Mexico and South Texas. The HMON model brings it to a hurricane and then weakens it and brings it here into the Bay of Campeche. So it kind of dances around the Yucatan. So again, those hurricane models performed rather well, and right now they're not that impressed with it. You can see the upper level wind shear. It's got a little anticyclone to the south of it, but that is starting to give it some wind shear here, and very high wind shear here to its northwest, so that is not favorable for development. The sea surface temperatures, you can see the cool wake from Sally, then from Beta, definitely cooled down the Gulf of Mexico, but a lot of hot water here in the Caribbean. It is warm enough to become a hurricane in the Gulf, but definitely not anything like Michael. There's been a lot of people going, oh man, just like Hurricane Michael in 2018. Well, this was October 2nd, 2018. Michael had this big warm eddy. It had a lot of warm water, maybe near 85 degrees off the coast of the Panhandle. Compare that to today, much cooler. We've had many more Gulf storms this year. Cristobal, Hannah, Laura, Marco, and then obviously Tropical Storm Beta. We've had a lot of Gulf Coast storms, to say nothing of Hurricane Sally that upwelled those waters. So they are more in the 79-degree range off the coast of the Panhandle, not 85 like with Michael. So this was Michael's water. See up here? Much more darker shades. This is what Gamma would have. Michael, Gamma. Michael, Gamma. Much cooler. However, these Caribbean waters are boiling. We could see a major hurricane in the Caribbean later this month or next month. So again, we're going to watch this system very carefully. You can see it organizing down there. Look at this beautiful cold front that just totally plowed through the eastern seaboard. That's why we have this fall-like weather moving in here towards the Midwest and Northeast. And that's another thing. Michael didn't have a cold front until after he hit. We didn't have any cold fronts in 2018 along the Gulf Coast. That stuff happens. It's not necessarily unusual. But this year we did have a cold front, chilly temperatures all the way down to the Gulf Coast. And with Sally and Beta and Laura and Marco and all these storms upwelling the water, the Gulf is much more brisk than it was in 2018, which is great news. You don't want another major hurricane on the Gulf Coast. Although if you're in western Florida in late season, you especially want to watch, as well as the Caribbean Sea. We'll watch this very carefully. Wanted to note Hurricane Marie. Marie's the name of the latest storm out in the Pacific. As of 2 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, it was 130 mile an hour Cat 4. It's expected to weaken to a depression by midweek and stay well out at sea. And that's the great thing about it. You can see a beautiful Category 4 hurricane, but not going to affect any land. Well away from Hawaii, well away from Mexico, and there's our system organizing in the Caribbean. And so right now the tropics remain active, and we're going to see how far we get down this Greek letter alphabet name list. Right now, Lambda, Mu. If we get Hurricane Omega, then things are really crazy. I'm Mike Naso with the latest on the tropics. I'll talk to you next time.